this is Carrie Bible, and we are doing another segment on Hollywood Kitchen, a mini segment to attach to our belated Oscar cook-along. And with me is Samantha Richardson, who knows so much about film history and movie star recipes. So welcome once again, Samantha.
Thank you so much for having me again. I'm so excited.
Of course. Well, on the Oscar episode, and this was your idea, by the way, full credit goes to you. I can take none. You had suggested doing about the Oscar gowns, which was a terrific idea. So back at Oscar time, when we did the original one, Dominique and I talked about Dorothy Dandridge and her Oscar nightgown. And now you and I are going to talk about your contribution to this, which is the Oscar gown of Joanne Woodward.
I immediately, when we were talking about like best dressed at the Oscars, best gowns, there are so many. A lot of them that are just so particularly unique. But my mind immediately went to Joanne Woodward, and it's really because I feel like she's so special. I think to date, she's the only Oscar Best Actress winner who designed her own Oscars dress.
Right?
Yeah, which is really exciting. It's like this beautiful, I mean, they're mostly black and white pictures that exist, but I believe it was like an emerald kind of satin strapless number. Very simple, but very elegant and beautiful. And it's really cute. I've read stories of, she won, of course, for The Three Faces of Eve in 1957, and that was just amazing. I love that movie, by the way. It's such a fun movie and a really well-deserved win. But then when she and Paul Newman were dancing together afterwards at the ceremony, or the after party, he was bragging to anyone who would listen, my wife designed her dress. And that's not really something that you hear about in the 1950s in terms of husband and wife energy. So I feel like it's particularly unique and beautiful.
One thing that strikes me is I have this fascination with the power dynamics of Hollywood power couples because if you've got two people that are at the same level of fame, stardom, talent, whatever, there's always a sense of if one has a box office hit, the other doesn't. If one wins an Oscar, the other doesn't get a nomination or the Oscar. There's always like and the thing about their marriage that seems amazing, I think they're the only massive Hollywood power couple that made it all the way to the end of their lives. But also, he seemed so proud of her. And a lot of times you'll see these women that win these Best Actress Oscars and get this bitter divorce a year or two later. You know what I mean? And he's
Right, because of their career trajectories, a lot of the time it affects their relationship.
and he seemed so proud of her. And that just makes my heart so happy to see a man be that proud of his lady like that. And then he would get his own Oscar later on. And also, I read somewhere, tell me if you can confirm this, that Joan Crawford did not approve of Joanne making her own Oscar dress and said it was something to the effect of like a slap in the face to Hollywood glamour. Or I've heard that Joan
I
had some
haven't. I
I've
mean, I
heard.
can't say that super surprises me in terms
Yeah.
of the quotes that I've heard from Joan in terms of stardom, and beauty. But no, that's new to me. That's interesting.
I'd heard that. And I'm thinking,
Yeah.
Joan, I love you, but you're kind of in a nightgown at home. So, you know. But
She had her own standout fabulous Oscar moment. No one knows who designed that nightgown, I'm sure.
But making a dress, I can't even imagine how hard that would be. I mean, that
While
sounds
making a
incredibly difficult.
movie, I imagine.
And they had kids, I'm sure. I don't know if they had them at that time. They might have, but
I think they did. Now that you mention it, I remember seeing an episode of What's My Line from the two of them, like very much in that kind of era. And I think they had just had a baby. And they had a few. So I think they between the marriages, they had four or five because they had been married previously.
I don't know how she did it. That's really amazing.
I don't either. And it's really amazing when you look at the Paul Newman cookbooks too, because they definitely seem like family affairs. Like not only does Paul Newman ask so many of his celebrity friends for recipes, and a lot of celebrities that did not hand out recipes, handed out a recipe for his cookbooks, especially because they were for charity. But he got Nell Newman's recipes in there, his daughter. He got Joanne's recipes in there. They're between the two editions. One was made in like the 80s, I think, and one in the 90s. There are like 5 or 6 Joanne recipes. So it's really cool, especially for someone like me who's, writing a cookbook of old movie star recipes. I have a lot to choose from for her.
Yes. Well, I have the Paul Newman cookbook, and Close Up is laying all over it, and he will not budge at all. So I don't know what that means at the end of the day, other than Close Up loves Paul Newman. But who doesn't? So tell us about the zucchini bread, because that's your culinary contribution to the episode.
Yeah, definitely. One of the reasons why I chose it for 2 reasons. So in my cookbook that I'm writing, I have Joanne's gazpacho recipe, which is really cool. It's very delicious. I have a Rock Hudson recipe, not going in the book, but that's the only other celebrity gazpacho I've tried, and they're quite different. It includes a whole jar of Paul Newman's own pasta sauce as a
Energy.
soup, but it's yummy. So I had that already that I'd tested and made before, and I was thinking about what to do for this. And I picked this because I hadn't tried it. I had only tried the gazpacho, but also the zucchini bread. I kind of thought it was cute because, it's a little green and her dress was green. So I thought
Perfect.
that would be a cute little nod to, I have my oven mitts because it's still a little warm. Her green dress. Didn't really end up green, but
It's close. It's a light green.
definitely stirred a lot of zucchini in there. Here, I'll read the recipe. It calls for it's really a surprisingly easy recipe. I don't know about you, but when I'm baking, a lot of the time at the end, I've got my quarter teaspoon dirty, my half teaspoon dirty, my quarter cup dirty. This was a lot easier in terms of all of the dry ingredients. It was like either a teaspoon or a cup. Very easy. Love something like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, so in the recipe, we've got 3 cups of flour, a teaspoon of baking soda, a teaspoon of baking powder, a teaspoon of ground cinnamon, a teaspoon of salt, 3 eggs, a cup of sugar, a cup of oil, which surprised me, but you'd end up needing that much liquid because it gets quite thick. A teaspoon of vanilla, and 2 cups of grated zucchini, which for me, each zucchini ended up being about a cup grated, so 2 zucchini.
Okay.
And you just mix together your dry ingredients. Then you beat your eggs in a separate bowl. And yeah, it ends up being really thick. You slowly add your dry to your wet, like you do for most breads, cakes, things. And then you add your zucchini, pop it in the oven for an hour.
Okay. Oh, wow, an hour. Okay.
Yeah. Funny enough, the other thing that was interesting to me is it said makes 2 loaves in big letters at the bottom.
Mhm.
And I think it also specifies the size of pan that she uses. It says 2 well-greased, eight is very specific, 8.5 inch by 4.5 inch by 2.5 inch loaf pans. And I wasn't thinking about that, to be honest with you. I put everything together like very exactly, but I only have one loaf pan, so it's going in this loaf pan. And my loaf pan is pretty big. It's about the
Oh,
size
wow,
of
that is
like
a good
I'd
size.
say like a loaf of white bread, that you'd get from
Okay.
the store. And it said makes 2 loaves, but it made one perfect loaf.
Very good. That looks fantastic.
Yeah, I wish I had a prettier loaf pan, but I'm really excited. It's still super hot. I want to try it on camera, but it's probably going to be a little too hot.
Oh, that's okay.
I
I
will
don't want you
definitely
to
tell
burn
you
your
how
mouth.
it is, though. I will report.
Yes, send me a photo, and if you have a photo of Joanne too, next to the zucchini bread.
Oh yeah, I don't. I'm gonna look through my books and see what I can do there. But
Sometimes
yeah,
I
I'll
try
make
to
it.
stage little scenes when I finish the episodes of like a photo of them, and then like I spread out the food and try to. I get all obsessive about trying to.
Yeah, I've done that. And whenever I have flowers, I have to make sure the flowers are in the shot.
Oh yeah, yeah, totally.
It's a whole thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But yeah, it turned out to be really easy. And it
And
looks delicious. It smells delicious too. I was a little unsure about zucchini bread, but my great grandmother has a that was like her recipe, and she always had so many zucchinis. So this is my
mhm.
first time since I was a kid making it. So.
Oh, wow. Very cool. Very
Mhm.
cool. Well, I my doing this episode's gotten delayed because I got home and realized I can't find my loaf pan anywhere. And then close-ups laying on the Paul Newman book, and I'm like, I give up today. I'm just going to do this another day, but I will get to
It's
it. I will get
okay.
to
We have a loaf.
it. Yay! Well, that looks terrific. And yes, so tell us about the cookbook that you're writing, because obviously you're going to be on here promoting that when it comes out.
Yes, it is snail's pace moving, as we discussed a little
Understood.
bit before recording.
Understood.
I right now I'm actually almost finished with the silent era though, in terms of the
Okay.
writing of it.
Hmm.
Like I just finished writing about Greta Garbo. It's so funny we're talking about Gloria Swanson because I'm getting to her very, very soon. But as far as testing the recipes, I'd say total for the book, I've probably since I even got a concept of doing this, probably 10 years ago, um, I've probably tested about 500 recipes. Yeah, and right now, in terms of actually for the book that I've chosen physically to cook, I have 22 left.
Oh my
And so it
God.
feels like I've come a really long way.
Yeah. The thing is, a lot of people don't always understand is books take a lot of time. Like my
Mhm.
second one, Hollywood Celebrates the Holidays. It's just a photo caption book. It's not like it's some deep scholarly thing or anything, but you had to get photo rights for those photos. We had to
Right.
license those photos. We had to research those photos. And also, buying those photos is not exactly cheap, nor is licensing them. So, my co author and I, Mary Mallory, we would be like, okay, we can spend money this month, and then we have to lay off for a couple months. Then we can spend money, then we have to lay off. So, it was a constant like, read research during the times when we couldn't have any money to buy stuff. And then it would just like literally, my nephew, I didn't even know I was going to be an aunt, and the book came out when my nephew was like 5. So it took like I judged how long the book took by like my nephew's lifespan because he was like 5 when it came out. So
The way that I feel about it, I mean, I definitely, my biggest thing is I'm trying to teach the world about 125 women at the same time as, presenting their recipes. I want to make sure that it's all factual, accurate, and I want to
yeah,
make sure that they can really learn something, that it's not just the same biography that you would read if you Googled them. I want the little tidbits of trivia, and I'm also like, especially in the silent film actresses case, I'm completing their whole filmography. If,
wow.
especially if there's not a whole lot that exists, I'm just going to watch it all. So if something happens, if there's a moment, even a moment in one of the movies that's worth writing about for her, as this is so exceptional in her career when she does this, I want to do that. I don't want to miss anything. So it's taken a while, but it will be hopefully like the definitive book of actress women recipes
Yes.
by the
And
end.
the frustrating part about silent film is there's so many lost films. Like it
Yeah.
kills me how many there are. And I'm like, dang it, I need a time machine. Like, you know?
It's one really interesting example. I mean, the main reason why I didn't include her was because I found out she was more of a 1910s actress, and I start in the 20s.
Mhm.
But Fida Bara, such a good example. Like, even
Yeah.
if I wanted to include her, like if I did a 1910 section, I couldn't. Like, really, there's so little to go off of, and there are
I
so
did
many actresses like that.
I did an episode on her and I interviewed this girl who was like a little adopted kind of friend of hers. And she told me about the stuff Theta would make her to eat and stuff. But yeah, I mean, it was a fun episode. But when there's only like 4 movies out of her entire career that exist, it's pretty challenging to assess a career when there's nothing to assess or very little. That's
Right.
hard. That's very difficult.
And there are so many too. Marceline Day is Bessie Love, just
Oh,
a couple that
yeah.
people don't even necessarily know by name. Mary Philbin, but then you go in their filmog. Mary Philbin's a really great example. You go in her filmography, three-quarters of it is lost, but the quarter of it that remains is incredible and worth watching.
Absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
keep me posted on this because you know you have to do an episode for that when it comes out.
Oh, of course. I know.
Several
It's
episodes.
I made it a goal, like, be as close to done by possible by my birthday in September. And I'm like, now I'm like, I want to be done with the silent era by September, and then I'll have 4 more decades to do.
Rome
But
was not built in a day, as the saying goes.
mhm, exactly. And each appearance like this gets me closer too, because this, even if this isn't going in the book, it's still really great to know.
Yeah, it's research.
Exactly.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much for joining me for this segment, and I'm sure we'll do so many more very soon.
Yes, I absolutely love it. Anytime, any place,
All
I'm
right.
happy to do it.
Alrighty. And stay tuned for more food, fun, and film history from Hollywood Kitchen.